A 9-round shootout. Wow. Shenanigans. Flyers win it, too. Who would have thought, considering their past history in shootouts? Caleb Weiler is here. I'm Adrian Fenke. We're here to talk about this shootout. We'll talk a little Steve Mason. We'll talk a little Claude Giroux. We'll talk a little Anthony Stolarz as well. So let's welcome Caleb to the show. How's it going, man?
Good. How's it going?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I was on Fox the other day. I'm living on a high. I'm going to the Blackhawks game on Saturday. I'm giddy.
Excellent. I mean, you're on Fox. The Flyers win. I'm a happy camper.
There you go. Yeah, so let's talk about this game. 9-round shootout, just insane. Is this the craziest Flyers shootout win you've ever seen?
It's pretty close to it. I mean, you obviously have the shootout against the Rangers that vaulted them in the playoffs and eventually vaulted them to that Stanley Cup final, although I try to forget about that year because it was so heartbreaking. But that shootout was awesome. But my favorite Flyers shootout is when I think in 2013, Claude Giroux's breakout year, he was having some wrist issues, and they were playing the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he pulled out the Datsuk deep to ice the shootout, and it was phenomenal, the craziest thing I've ever seen. And ever since then, you knew Claude Giroux was going to be a superstar, and he was.
Yeah. Yo, obviously, the best shootout ever is the Rangers one because that propelled them all the way, basically, to the Stanley Cup Finals. You know, and it's crazy how the NHL works. You can get hot going into the postseason. You get a hot goalie, and you can make a run. Doesn't matter if you're a 6 seed, 7 seed, 8 seed. That's just the way it works. So, they are now 3-2 in shootouts this season. They've really, really struggled in the past. Now, I know this is a limited sample size, but do you think that they're better right now in the shootouts, or is it just too soon to tell?
I think they are a little bit better. I mean, they're still like barely batting over 500 with five shootout wins, or 3 shootout wins and 5 attempts. But you have a lot of talent in the shootout now. I mean, on top of Claude Giroux, who you know is probably going to score at like a 40% pace. Jake Voracek has gotten a lot better at the shootout. Wayne Simmons. Now you also have Travis Konechny and Nick Cousins, both of whom have really silky mitts. So it's good for them to get into the shootout. They score pretty often as well. So right now the Flyers are playing well in the shootout, and Steve Mason just stood on his head in that shootout and the rest of the game too. So within the shootouts, you know, the goalies have been playing well. So it's good to see that right now.
Oh, my God. Steve Mason was unbelievable. 45 of 47. Unbelievable. 33 saves heading into the third period. So, you know, the Bruins just kept peppering shots on him, and he just kept stopping them. They scored 2 goals in like a span of, 114, 118, something like that. Mm-hmm. So that was the only time the Bruins scored in the game. But Steve Mason, what can you say? He's had some struggles this year, sure, but he was unbelievable. Was it Tuesday night already?
Yeah, absolutely. He was fantastic, and he's already brought his save percentage up to .892, and I believe it was sub .880. And so he's been playing a lot better hockey recently. And with Michael Neuvirth gone, that was to be expected because Mason knows it's his crease. Yeah, Anthony Stolarz had a great debut, but Steve Mason knows that he's going to be the starter for the next month or so. And I think he's been playing like it. You know, obviously, I think he saved like 95% of the shots. On Friday, like you said, 45 out of 47, and he just stood on his head. It was a phenomenal game, and even the 2 goals that went in, they weren't really even his fault. It was a defensive mishap, and I just think Steve Mason, if he can continue to play like that, the Flyers have a good chance to keep vaulting their record over 500.
Yeah, and you were making a point on a prior show that Mason plays a lot better when he knows he's the man.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's definitely showing that right now. Like, Steve Mason has had some of the best statistics over the last couple of years and playing behind this porous Flyers defense. But, when he knows he's the guy, he's going to put up big numbers for you like he did against the Bruins.
Yeah, let's talk about this porous defense. They get outshot 47-21. Like, that's ridiculous. Major concern coming into this game has been that defense. And goaltending isn't helping, but when you have this sort of Swiss cheese defense, it makes the goaltending look a lot worse.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's slightly frustrating because Ivan Provorov and Michael Del Zotto healthy and a full season of Radko Gudas under his belt in the new system. You thought this team would be a lot better, but there's a huge weak link in Mark Streit. And the Flyers really need to find a way to get rid of him. I mean, even Andrew McDonald has been playing better, but every time Streit touches the puck, something bad happens. And, the shutdown pairing for the Flyers right now is Gudas and Provorov. And what does that tell you about our defense? That the 19-year-old is the one on the shutdown pairing. So it's a really good prospective defense. They're eventually going to be a good defense, but right now, letting up 47 shots is not something you can do. I mean, it's team defense as well, not just the defense, because I'm pretty sure the Flyers only had like a couple minutes of like entrance time into the Bruins zone in that second period, and the Bruins just kept peppering Steve Mason. And it was a great showing by him, and if the Flyers want to keep winning, they need to make sure they step up their game in front of the keeper.
Yeah, what are you seeing out there? Is it just kind of a lack of talent? You were talking about the team defense. So what are you seeing?
I think our offense is very offensive-minded. I mean, Claude Giroux is a great two-way player, but Jake Voracek doesn't play a lot of defense. Travis Konechny is still a young kid. We're missing Sean Couturier, who is a big defensive help and always a defensive threat. He might not put up a lot of points, but he always plays a strong defensive game, and missing him right now definitely really hurts. And like I said, Mark Streit is just a huge, huge liability on the D-line right now. He's 39 years old. I mean, I'm hoping the Flyers can trade him. I don't know if anybody's going to want him the way he's playing right now. But, that's the big liability. And then the amount of guys who are so offensively minded as opposed to defense. What I do like that I'm seeing is that Wayne Simmons is on the PK now. And he's, turning his defensive game around. He scored a shorthanded goal already this year as his first of his career. And I do like that they're seeing some other players play those defensive minutes instead of pushing it all on Claude Giroux.
Yeah, you're definitely right about the offensive-minded players because right now the Flyers are second in the league with 77 goals. But then they've allowed the most goals in the league with 80. It's insane, this team. It's just like up and down. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so frustrating because that they have the capability to be good. And if they could just shore up defensively in front of Steve Mason, he's going to play well. He's going to win games for you if you can play defense in front of him. I mean, you could put it like Carey Price behind this defense, and he's not going to look as good as he does over in Montreal. And so it's definitely frustrating. But the Flyers do have a good core that's going to come up in Morin and Sanheim and Myers. And when they all make it to the big club, hopefully Mason, Neuwirth, or Stolars, if he's in the big leagues, is going to be able to stand tall behind that defensive core.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit further then. So how long do you think it'll kind of take? Do you see like a year or two? These prospects, it just basically comes down to these prospects coming up. Do you think they need to draft some more guys? Do you think they need to add some free agents? Or do you think you just be patient and wait for these guys to come up?
Yeah, I think you absolutely have to be patient. I mean, look at Ivan Provorov. He was our best defensive prospect. And he still struggled in the beginning of this year. It took him about 20 games to actually get used to like the NHL level and the speed of the game. And I mean, I haven't seen him struggle too much recently, but it took him 15, 20 games just to get into that zone. And now he looks a lot more comfortable on the ice. But if you rush like 3 defensive prospects up there and your D core is, 20, 19, and 18 years old, that's just not going to bode well for the team. So, I mean, you do have players like Michael Del Zotto and Mark Streit whose contracts are going to be up at the end of this year. I believe Nick Schultz is also up at the end of this year, and I don't even remember the last time he played. But you're going to have Andrew McDonald on the team for a long time. So there's going to be some holes to fill. I don't think they should fill them with the young guys unless Hextall really knows that they'll be ready. I think we see Sanheim as at some point maybe an injury call-up this year. And I don't know if he'll make the team next year, but he'll probably play on the Flyers if there's a trade or something like that.
Gotcha. All right, let's move on to Stolars then. Pretty impressive debut. You had an individual video that you did a couple days ago on it. So he wins his debut against Calgary. What were your thoughts on his effort? Pretty good.
I thought he played a phenomenal game. I mean, he had some rebound issues on the last goal. He kicked it right into the slot, and that led to a goal. But it was a garbage time goal, and he had played really well up until that point. And I was definitely impressed with his play. I mean, the same defense that played in front of Stolars against the Flames played in front of Mason against the Bruins and let up 47 shots. So, the defense playing in front of Stolars wasn't really any better. They might have been playing a little harder because they wanted to get the rookie his first goal. And that was his first win. And the first goal he let up was a little cheesy. It did sneak in under his arm. But he bounced back from that. And that's huge to see a young goaltender's confidence not waver when he lets up an easy goal like that. So I was happy with his overall performance. I think we'll probably see him a couple more times. There's the Flyers back-to-back coming up this weekend. So I would be not surprised if we did see him again this weekend.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's move on to Claude Giroux. Snapped a 9-goal drought with a first period power play tally. So he's not really scoring a lot of goals this year. He's got 5 on the season, but he does have 15 assists. So are you concerned about the lack of goal scoring, or is everything cool because he's still distributing?
Yeah, I'm not concerned at all. I'm not concerned about his point production. I am concerned about his 5-on-5 point production because he's leading the NHL in power play points, with I think like 11 or 12, and that has to tell you that he only has 8 even strength goals or points rather. So that's something that doesn't bode well. You would like to see your captain and your best player, perform at even strength. But the assist part doesn't bother me. I mean, Wayne Simmons has 12 goals this year, and Jake Voracek, I believe, has 8 or so. So that we're getting scoring from other places right now. And if Claude Giroux gets 80 assists and 5 goals this year, I'll be happy. I mean, it's a team game, so it doesn't really bother me if he's not scoring goals. But if he continues to put up points and if he can start playing a little bit better at 5-on-5 even strength, I'm going to be really happy with the way he's playing right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you're saying, there's a lot of offensive weapons on this team. We talked about how they've scored 77 goals so far this season. So Wayne Simmons, I believe he's 8th in the NHL in points. You got Voracek and Drew. They're tied for 20th. So if he's distributing the puck and it's leading the goals, I mean, it's basically like getting a goal anyway.
Yeah, exactly. In the NHL, it's not all about goals, and it's more about points and more about how your team plays when you're on the ice. So, and the way Claude Giroux plays, hopefully he makes everybody else better. And if he can distribute and put the puck on Raffl's stick when he's standing in front of the net and he can just tip it right in, I mean, I'm happy with goals like that. If Claude Giroux can wire one into the top shelf where Mama hides the cookies, then I'm happy with that too.
Yeah, if he's passing the puck and putting his teammates in a better position to score than they were before he passes the puck, then obviously it helps out dramatically. So, all right, that's about it. I can't think of any other topics to say unless you got something you want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, the Flyers play tonight. I'm extremely excited for the game. Unfortunately, I'm actually going to be at the Wells Fargo Center watching the Shine Down concert. But so I won't actually be able to watch the game, but everybody else should. It should be a good game. I'm assuming Steve Mason's going to start again against the Senators, and hopefully the Flyers can pull out another one, get two games over 500.
Okay. All right. Actually, I did see a stat. Was that the first time they've had consecutive wins this season? Is that what I saw, or it might have been the third time? I don't know, but
yeah, I don't think it was the first time, but okay. This is the first time they've gone, I believe, a game over 500.
All right, so it's like there's such a lack of consistency right now. They haven't put a winning streak together, but they haven't really lost a lot in a row. So it's like you're waiting for something to happen, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to happen one way or the other at some point. I mean, there's so much parity in the NHL. I think I saw a stat today that 15 teams are within 2 points of each other for a playoff spot or something like that. And so it's just good to see that within the NHL right now. But if the Flyers want to get up there and solidify themselves as a playoff contender, they're going to have to really start winning some games and get that record over 500.
Yeah, I took a brief look at the standings before the show, and I was just like, oh my god, it's a cluster of teams, like from the first team all the way down to the last team. The Sabres are like 8-10 and something, and nobody's that far behind for those last couple of playoff spots. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's the best thing about hockey, in my opinion, is everybody has a chance to win. Even the Flyers in 2010, they get in as a 7th seed and make it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. You don't see that in a lot of other sports, so. I think that's a cool thing about hockey.
Yeah. All right. So, besides that Senators game tonight, big showdown against the Blackhawks on Saturday. So that should provide a nice little test for the Flyers.
It absolutely should. And I'm sure Steve Mason's going to start that game as well. Last time we played the Blackhawks, it was 7-4, and we kind of got shelled there. We made an impressive comeback, but only to lose. So hopefully Steve Mason can stand on his head again. Hopefully the Flyers can play some better team defense and pot some goals against the Blackhawks.
There you go. All right. I don't really have any final thoughts besides the fact that I will be going to the game Saturday. And it seems like Mr. Weiler is going to be a part of the Philly influencer team. He's going to be writing some Flyers stuff for us. So I can't wait to get that going because, I'm a proud, like Bray said when I got on Fox, he was a proud papa. Well, I'm a proud papa right now for Mr. Weiler. Awesome.
Yeah. I'm definitely honored. It'll be a great experience, and I'm more than happy to be able to do that for you guys.
Yeah. I can't wait for people to be able to witness your expertise on this team. Nobody knows the Flyers like Caleb does. I'm telling you guys right now, this guy's a genius.
All right. Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but I appreciate it.
No, you are. Genius.
I don't even know if I can spell genius.
Flyers hockey.
Oh, man. Yeah, I can't even spell genius, so close enough, right?
You better be able to spell it. All right, that's it. That's Caleb. I'm Adrian. Take care, guys. And, we're out. Peace.
Out. Peace.